Hello guys, it's me Leo once again with another tutorial, and I'm sure you're going to learn a lot from this one. Again, we're going to be working on another logo. It's going to be a little bit more meaningful this time because it's actually a real logo that I'm working on. Well, I've actually done for a friend of mine, and so he's in the business of breeding bulldogs, and he's asked me to design for him a special logo, and the main requirement was that I use one of his his favorite bulldogs, like this one. So I went over to his house and took a picture of it, and I've already got some ideas. So basically what I'm going to do is just extract the outline of him. I'm going to make a silhouette of it here using the Bezier tool. Now, if you're familiar with the use of the Bezier tool, then the following couple of minutes might bore you because you know what to do, you know how to use it. But there is a video explaining in much more detail how to use the Bezier tool, which I've always said is a very, very, very powerful tool. If you know how to use it, you can make a lot of cool effects with the design and save time by precisely working over the contours or the silhouette of something like this. So just to a small refresher of how to use it. It's this simple. What you do is you use the Bezier tool, and if you have a line segment that's unfinished like this and you want to go back, just simply double click the last part and you're good to go. You can move the blue node you see, up and down by pressing the Alt key, and you can just move around and press the C for a cusp mode. Again, Alt key to move the node up and down, and the cusp. Press C to just change the trajectory abruptly. Now it's if you see the arrows points to where the next line segment or the trajectory will go. Again, if you want an abrupt change, merely press C and you're on your way to the next one. Okay, right. Okay, so it's something like this. So I'm just gonna double click. All right. Now, since it's a dog as opposed to just an object, try and avoid making lines, but curves, because that's what it's all about. This is just curves we're working on here. Now this doesn't look okay. Yeah. Now let's just go back to press F10. Okay, press F10, or just go to the shape tool, and you can make some adjustments with much more precision here. Okay. All right, now if you just want to carry on, again, just double click the last segment you did, and we'll carry on. Right, so this is the first stage of the design for the logo. Now it needn't be that exact. We're not looking into precision at the moment. We're just working around. Okay, here we go. So make sure it's closed. Move back a bit. Okay, so we'll just close this here, and right, double click just to make sure it's filled. I'm just going to fill it in with a color. No, I've got to select it first. Fill it, and it is sealed. Okay, so I'm going to make a copy of this one here, of the background. I'm going to make 2 copies of it. Right, I'll always like to have a copy of everything so that I needn't start from scratch whenever I mess up. So the second thing I'm going to do here is just simply extract the outline of the dog's pupil. just something like this. Okay, and his eyes, use the ellipsis tool for his eyes. That looks pretty much right. Okay, and I believe we'll have the same diameter here, so I'm going to just copy it. It doesn't matter if this goes it goes over this area here, because we're going to use another tool just to insert it inside. You won't notice it. So here we go. Right. Okay, something like this. Again. Okay. Again, I like to always make sure that it's closed. All right. So now we've got both eyes here. This is an idea. And now we are going to start working on the nose. All right. And instead of going into this actual, into the nostrils, we're just going to go around the area like so. Which is more or less something like this. This is what we want. Okay. I'm just going to make some refinements here, it's more or less like this. I'm going to make this a little bit less round. Okay. This I can move up a little bit, like so. And here, okay, all right, that looks good to me. So if you see it in black, you'll see it like this. This is more than you need. So now I'm going to go around the top part of the nose. Again, it's just a mere line segment up to around here. Right, that looks good to me. And then another one. Which is like this. Right. Okay. And now we're going to go to this part, which is the flappy part of the cheeks. And it's a little bit more complicated than I thought, but change the direction. Okay, make this round a little bit, like so. And okay, we'll do it this way, and then we'll make the necessary changes. Okay, so again, just to make the changes here, make this a little bit rounder. It's a little bit time consuming, but once it's done, you'll see the effects that this can have, and it's just really cool. You will like it. So I think I'm done with that. Okay. Now we've got the line segments around the main features of the bulldog. If we take off the image, you should get something like this. Okay. Now before into working along the eyes, okay, because obviously the eyes don't have to be, we need to use the power clip tool here and all that stuff. So just want to show you what the next stage is. And I think before anything, what we'll do is we're going to make our own artistic media tool. We're going to make our own brush. So we go here, artistic media tool, and just anywhere actually. I think I will use the Bezier tool here this time. It's going to be a very, very narrow triangle like so. I'm going to select it, select all nodes, and I don't want this to be all straight, so I'm just going to make some adjustments like that, and then this, it'll be a little less symmetric. Okay, let's see what it looks like in black. Yeah, okay, this is a bit too sharp, but I think this is nice. Okay, so we go to Artistic Tool, right, and we simply press on the diskette here, and you give it a name. I'm going to call it Bulldog Stroke. I'm going to replace it, and now we go back here. Now this is where it gets nice and interesting. So we've got a copy of, we've got a silhouette here, and we're now going to choose some very, very key points here, and simply with this feature here, we're going to just break the curve, and we're going to break it in two parts like so. So if this part here is actually a separate line segment, and the same will go for here. I'm going to add another node here and detach it from the rest. I'll do the same here. I'm going to leave this detached as well. This part will be detached. Wherever you go. Okay. Now, if you try to move it around, you'll find out that it actually isn't detached. It's still part of the same object. Yeah. Okay. But if you try to fill that object with a color, you can't do it any longer because it's not one single item anymore. Though it's not detached, it's not one single item anymore. And to prove this to you, I'm going to press this button here, which is the break apart feature. Now, if I select his ears, I can actually detach him now. And this is what I want. Because every segment, every part that you see there is going to have its own line segment. Okay? And I'm going to use the brush stroke that I just added to it. So let's see what it looks like. Now, if you remember, we went along the contours of this puppy from left to right. Okay, so you will see it is important the direction in which you trace the image, and I'll tell you why. You should be able to see here, very, very slow, very, very small here. There's an arrow. That arrow tells you in which way this was done. Okay, right, and we go to the brush stroke, and we're now going to apply our brush stroke. It's got to be at the bottom here, and now you see it has a very nice beginning, which is nice and thick, and as it goes up, it goes nice and thin. All right. For this one, we're going to need another type of brush stroke. But let's go down to this one. Again, choose. Now, as you can see, it's going, because of the trajectory, the thicker part is up here. So we need to change the trajectory of this line segment so that the thicker part can go down. And it's not that difficult to do. All you've got to do is use the pick tool here, or the shape tool rather, and here it says change or reverse direction. Once that's done, now you can see, let's put it, now you can see it's nice and thick at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing with all of these line segments. So again, it's just a question of adding the effect. Now I'm going to choose, just to do this a bit quicker now, I'm going to choose this twice, and that's not the one we want. But I am now going to change the make sure that the trajectory goes up like that. Okay. And the same for this one. Okay, now here's we want to make another we're going to make another brush stroke. And this time, again, we use the Bezier tool, and basically what we're looking for is something that is a little bit round, something that's very sharp on both edges. Okay, on both edges, as opposed to just one. So let's make this a bit curved here. This one curved as well. Right, change some of the aspects so it doesn't look so symmetrical and more like a brush. Okay, I think this is going to be great. So brush stroke, I'm going to save it, and I'm going to call this 2. So now I know that the second one is going to be for this part over here. And again, I just choose this one here. And the same thing I will do for this one. Now I'm going to make this a bit thinner than usual. So I'm just going to go to 1.5. Okay, that's what I want. Okay, so we've got something like that. I'm going to take this image off just for you to see what it looks like, and now you can see part of it. Now to add to the effect, you might want to just remove parts of the node, yeah, like that, and then it's doesn't look as if it was glued. Okay, like this, you see, and then you can just play around with the effect like that, as if it were to go underneath. That looks pretty nice. Okay. Actually, we need to work on this part here. So again, it's going to be this one. Now this one can be a little bit thicker than the rest. There we go. Again. Sorry. When we work on this one, it is thicker than the rest. And I'm going to change the trajectory, like so. Now I don't really need this line here. I don't need it because I just want this top part. Okay. Right, we're now going to work on his teeth. So I'm guessing it's something like this. Hang on. It's a sort of round chin here. And we will make some changes. We're going to make some changes here because we want it to look, we don't want to make it so aggressive. So we're going to round off his teeth here. Round them up a little bit like that. And something else we want to do is, okay, this is run like this. Right. Just round the teeth a bit. This will also go down here. Right. Like so. Okay. Round. I think that's an enormous improvement to what it was. And I'm not a dentist. So we're not going to use the smart tool, and with the smart tool just fill in the spaces here, and we change them to white. Okay, I'm going to take it away. Okay, so that you should see it white. White teeth. Okay. Okay, now let's walk along his eyes now. And for that we need to use the elliptical tool. Okay. Further up like that. Right. And we use a transparency tool here. The other way round. This is good. It's good enough for what we need. Okay. And we're going to place the pupil inside the socket now. So power clip, place inside this object, and the same for this one. Right. Now we're getting an idea of what this is all about. Okay. And the eyebrow can have the same brush stroke. Give this a white. Same here. Take this off, you will see more or less what it looks like now. Save your work. We're missing a couple of things to finish with the dog, and then move on to another project that we can add on to make it a little bit more interesting. And what we're now going to work on is the chin. Okay, now there are some things we left behind, so we're going to see if we can quickly add it. So let's just add the chin to it. I think I'll need to make an adjustment. Okay, very quickly. Yeah, that's more or less what it is. Okay, let's make this nice, and I'm going to make a small change to it to exaggerate on the fact that it dangles. Right. Okay, that's that. And this is okay, I guess. Right. I've made this a little bit thicker. Right. Let's add a little bit more of symmetry. So this goes up here, same level. Okay. Right. So again, save your work. It doesn't hurt to do so. Let's have a quick look at it. Right, I'm also going to include for this part, I'm also going to include the style brush that we have chosen. It wasn't this one, it wasn't that one either, hang on. It was this one. And I think we're going to leave it at that thickness. This will make a little bit thicker. Okay. Right. And there's going to be another step that we need to work on. Now remember, this looks good if you can make it overlap, or if you can not overlap, but if you can make it sort of have a the feeling that it goes inside. Now this is too far apart. Okay. Right. So after that, we're now going to give this dog a ribbon. Okay. Now, how do we go about making a ribbon? Well, it's very simple. We're going to make a ribbon. Now, since this is an English dog, it's one of the mascots of Great Britain. We are going to use the Union Jack. So in order to make the ribbon, we are going to pull up the Union Jack we designed long time back. It's available in one of my other tutorials. And what makes this tutorial a little bit different is the fact that it's exactly proportionate to the flag itself. So have a look at the video, you'll find it interesting. And while we have it, we're just going to group all the parts, make sure it's grouped, and we're going to summon the lens docker. So it's in here where it says effects and lens. Okay, so it's there. Enable it, and we're going to make a circle, very quick circle like this. Press Ctrl to make sure it's completely round as you drag. And press P on both objects to make sure it's completely centered. Okay, like so. And I'm going to magnify it just a little bit. 35% is good. I freeze the image and I take it off. Actually, I don't really like it. I think we're missing a little bit of blue here. So I'm going to just go back a bit. Back. Okay. So we're just going to go back a bit and make the circle a bit bigger. Because I do want to have the blue part here. I do want to have it. Right. Okay, it needn't be completely circular. So again, just take it off. Won't produce an effect unless you freeze it. Okay. So remember to make a copy of this one. Just take it off. No lens effect. So it's just white with a black outline. Take outline here. Now you can see a little bit of blue. That's what I wanted. Remove the Union Jack. Center both objects, and with the circle that's underneath, just constrain it a bit. I'm not going to remove the white off yet. And we choose the polygon feature. Now the polygon is very powerful again. It's not going to be a triangle, don't worry about that. But we are going to press P, and we're going to have 10 angles. P again. Right. Now the good thing about this automated feature is that you can change parts of its attributes like so, and everything will be the same. Now I want this to be up here I want this to be round. So again, making the change in one of them will change all of them, but we want this to be a uniformed. There we go. Well, it's pretty much done itself there. This is going to be a little bit rounder. Okay, now we've got a nice. Okay, I'm going to make this blue. So just color blue. Page down. Remove the outline here. And with again, Bezier Tool, I'm going to make parts of the strips of the ribbon. Okay, I can make some changes later on. Well, just a little bit. Let's do that again. So, because it's got to be closed. So, right. Make the changes that we need to make. Center this a bit. Choose all of the nodes to make it longer without losing the angle. Now this part doesn't really matter how it's done, just as long as it's joined. And the reason is because we won't be seeing it. It'll be underneath. I'm going to just duplicate it. Okay, and I'm going to make one of them. I'm going to make one of them blue without the outline, and the other one red without the outline. Okay, pull these down like so. Take this now. I want this to be a white outline here, so I'm going to use the take off the outline and merely add a contour, slight contour like that. I don't want it this color. I do want it white though. So it's very simple. Just go to the fill in. And you should have something like this. Okay, obviously you can make any adjustments that you need, that you'd like, but for now I think this is what I would like. So you've got to go back to page 1 where everything is, and then you just simply add the ribbon to, I'm going to put it on its shoulder like so. Okay, there's some other steps that I haven't told you, but I will tell you right now. That's going to be a little bit time consuming, but it's important that we address this issue. Let me try and give you an example as to why we need to make that adjustment. If I were to make this smaller, you see that everything has gotten very, very thick and it's not proportionate to what I want. Okay, so that's because the airbrushes need to be separated. So in other words, all I want is the shape, not the airbrush itself. So we go to where it says Object, and it says Break Artistic Media Group Apart, pressing Ctrl K. And you will see a line like this. This is the initial line upon which we added the effect for the brush. We simply delete it. Now, if we move this around, you'll see that there's no line between. As opposed to this one, we move this line. You still got the line there. See this? So again, these are, you see the line in the middle? Okay, so that has to be deleted. So again, it's just a question of selecting the object and break apart. Take the line in the middle off, and this has to be done to all of them. So otherwise you will have an issue if you're trying to change the size of the image, but you still want to retain the attributes of its the size and the thickness. Let's see if I can zoom in. It's line here. Take this line off. It's not what we want. Okay, now it won't take long, but this has to be done. This again, object, break apart, take the line off in the middle, and so on and so forth. Okay. Right, the same thing happens here. Now, make sure that before you break the objects apart, you are absolutely satisfied with the thickness of each of the brush strokes, because you can't go back. It's just one simple object, and changing the thickness and changing angles and so on, it'll be a long process, because you're going to have to play around with each of the nodes. Okay, and that's time consuming. Right, I think we're almost done. This is one solid object, so we don't need to worry about that. This is a brush, and I think this is done already. No, it's not. You can tell it's not done already because if you move it around, you see the line in the middle. Okay. Right. And I think we're done. I think we're actually done. So now, if I were to toggle the size, it shouldn't lose the properties of the thicknesses. This one, hang on. This one has. Right, so the name of Bulldogs. Premier Bulldogs is the name of the kennel, the dog kennel. I'm just going to pull it up a little bit, and I chose can't even pronounce it. It's called Hatzenschweile or whatever. I chose that one because as a character, this font has a nice characteristic that I liked about it, and that's the G here. And I played around with the G, right? And what I did is I pretty much just prolonged the leg of the G. Okay, I just prolonged it and move this down here. And I also played around with this. Let's just ungroup it. Sort of to give it the appeal that it's all related, it's all joined, it's all part of the same thing. So I just downloaded this, lowered this a bit. This is going to be actually a bit wider. Okay, like so. Right. And okay, like that. Actually, it's a little bit like this. Okay. So this is something you can just do to give it a creative perspective to it, and obviously something that's unique. Now, a lot of you are asking or probably wondering why I chose to use my own. I chose to use my own brushstrokes. Well, if the more unique your logo is, I don't know. I think it just gives you a special touch to it. Well, there's the finished logo, by the way. This may not be black. You can actually choose the color of it, but I think this is just an idea. He pretty much likes the idea, so I'm going to leave it at that. Well, I hope you liked today's tutorial. I hope you learned a lot, and please, 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 anything that needs clarification, please drop me a line and subscribe. Oh, sorry, one more thing before I leave. One more thing. Do you remember we made the background here? This background can be very, very, very useful. It can be very, very useful if we need to have this as a fill-in. If we want to sort of fill this in with a color or the gradient, or when we have yeah. So just to give you a quick idea of what it's like, I can make this black. Oh, this one is just a line that we made. This is a line that we just designed. This just gives you an idea of what. If we were to make this line change smaller, the color of it, it's thick. Yeah, whatever you want. So okay. This has to be it's very constrained as well. The silhouette. Merely press F12, pulling the notes and where it says scale with the object, an idea. Make sure that's ticked. That's all. Thank you very much for watching the video. Retain. Good luck. The properties, so that it's whether you make it bigger or smaller, it's still the proportion is still retained. Right, we're missing just one more thing. We're just missing one more thing, and I'm just going to group the whole object